Good morning, everyone. It is October 7th, coming up on Halloween, so I'm continuing with my Halloween theme. We're in Codesters right now, a good place to pick up some Python, and my topic here is local versus global names. What does this program do? The basic objective of the code on the left is that it will let me click on any of these sprites, pumpkin, ghost, or broom. And when I click on it, that will set a global variable, meaning a name visible to everything inside this program called target. So I scroll to the top. Target starts out on line 7 with the value of none. Inside of each key press function, I don't want to try to set size or turn left or right so long as target is none, because none doesn't know any of those tricks. None is pretty much just a placeholder. It can't do anything. I could have set it to false, same idea, like 0. So target could have been 0, but I happen to have set it to none. I'll put a comment there. Could have been 0. Now, as I typed that, the ghost was going off to the right because I've also got the space bar set to move the sprite that's been clicked. So I should stop the program before I start editing the code, is the moral there. So let me rerun the code and show you in action what it does. If I pick by clicking a sprite, I can use the right or left arrow keys to rotate it. I can use the up or down arrow keys to grow and shrink it, and I can use the space bar to move it in the direction it's pointing. Now you kind of have to have some experience with Codesters to know what direction it's pointing. It's really the left side, or actually the right side, that's considered sort of the front end. So that's the direction I move in. So that's what I get to do here, and I can pick any of these sprites and do the same kinds of things. So how that works again is pretty straightforward. Inside the guts of each one of these sprites is a set method called event click that just listens for when it gets clicked by the mouse. And when it does get clicked, what it remembers is which function it should run in that case. And the function is click. And when it runs click, you can name it anything. It sort of comes out of the box named clicked, but you can change these names. When click is run, the sprite that it was run on automatically passes itself. The sprite itself goes in as the argument up top. This usually comes along saying sprite. Let's stop the code before I start typing anything, but this usually comes out of the box saying sprite here. But I deliberately changed it because I wanted to make very clear that this is just an argument that changes depending on who's clicked. If the pumpkin's clicked, then S is pumpkin. If the broom is clicked, then S is the broom. It's not any particular sprite. It's just whatever sprite got clicked. So that comes in, and target then gets set equal to that sprite. So now target is a pointer to or name of that sprite. And that's why I had to say global, because usually functions are not empowered to change global variables. In other words, repoint them to something else. They can modify existing, they can add to a list, they can sort of edit existing variables, but in terms of pointing them to whole other objects, that's a power they don't have unless you explicitly grant it to them, which I do here on line 10. I say, I want this click function to be able to change what target is pointing to at the global level. For fun, let's just take that out in the sense of comment it out, put a little hash mark in front, turns it gray, save the code in this state, and try to run it again. What's going to happen? Remember, target starts out as none. So I click on the pumpkin, presumably it came in and ran this, but this target is now just local to that function. So really, it just kind of got thrown away at this point because there's no global significance to that. So when I start using the arrow keys, which I'm doing, you can't see that, nothing's happening. It's like the keys are not being sensed, and that's because target is still pointing to none, because this function did not succeed in changing the global target. So I'll save it after changing it back to what it was, rerun it, and show that everything's back to normal. I just clicked on the pumpkin, and it is getting big. All right, that's my little talk for the morning. Have a good one, and happy Halloween.